Good morning, everyone. I hope there is no problem with the sound and you can see us and hear us. Just give a 5 or some indication that everything is okay with the sound.
Well, I can hear you loud and clear, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, okay, let's start then. Welcome to our webinar organized in collaboration with our partner Docentric. My name is Maria Rasheva and I'm account and project manager for Dynamics 365 in FTS Bulgaria. Together with me today is Gregor Dedic, and he is representative of Docentric, and he's going to lead the webinar and to show you how you can enhance your experience with Dynamics 365 using the Docentric technology. Hi, Gregor.
Hi,
Our
everyone.
colleague,
Hi.
yeah, our colleague Andrei Kujabashev is here. Also, he is experienced F&O consultant in F&O, and he has robust knowledge about centric tools and applications. Mina Petrova is also with us. She's marketing manager in FTS, helping with the organization today. Okay, before starting with the topics today, I would like to share with you that we're very excited about our partnership with Docentric. It's a strategic collaboration that brings even more value to our Dynamics 365 finance and operation clients. We from FTS Bulgaria are a trusted Microsoft partner with over than 30 years of experience in implementation of business software. Now, with this partnership, it allows us to combine our deep and domain expertise with Docentric's powerful technology and enabling our customers to gain better control over their business documents and streamline their Dynamics 365 landscape. Okay, Gregor, no more introductions. Let's start with the interesting part. There was how our customers can take benefits from Docentric.
Okay, perfect. So first and foremost, thank you so much for your kind introduction. Thank you everyone for joining the webinar. Thank you, of course, FTS for organizing. Very quickly about myself. So I work for Docentric. I'm a partner account manager, and I also work directly with the customers, of course, always jointly with the partners. Docentric is I would say, partner-first company. This is a quick agenda of today's webinar. We'll try to keep it on 45 minutes, and we'll try not to do that by PowerPoint. We do have a couple of slides, but we will also have a live demo of the product. If you have any questions, please post them in the Q&A section. Now, if there will be questions we won't be able to answer, although we have an expert also on the FTS side, but if there will be questions we won't be able to answer on the Docentric end, we will follow up with those questions in the email that will be sent together with recordings and some additional material. Now, having said that, very quickly, what is Docentric? So we are focusing on designing documents, designing SSRS reports using Microsoft Word. That would be the simplest explanation. On top of that, we also enhanced management and generation of those documents and distribution. Now, to put it in a simple words, we did a lot of enhancement on the print destination so that we make your life easier when you're using email print destination, file print destination, and we also did a bunch of other enhancements that sits in within D365 itself. We are F&O shop only, so D365 F&O shop only. We are focusing only on Microsoft technology. We will also extend that into the C, D365 F&O C in the near future. We're going to see that at the end of the webinar. I have a couple of slides about what's next in the upcoming year, I would say. So new things coming in the upcoming year. We are also organizers of the Dynamics Mind Conference. So this is something that I need to mention. I don't have a slide for that. I would just like to mention it's a community conference happening each year at the end of May. Now it's been the third year, gathering enthusiasts and experts on the BizApps in the BizApp scene. So everything from D365 all the way to the Power Platform. There we go. Just quickly about Docentric. So to give you a little bit of scale, we've been around now, it's going to be around a bit more than 10 years. We have more than 900 customers globally. So we actually are delivering our solutions and supporting our customers and partners globally. I would say what's kind of interesting is that more than 800,000 reports is generated daily with our software. So we have certain telemetrics that kind of helps us to have some facts and figures. We have a free, we have a full edition, and with customers, I would say in average, customers are using 16 different templates with our software. Templates for us are those SSRS reports that have been created in a Docentric template, which is basically Word. Now, I don't want to spend too much on facts and figures. Now, if we could kind of divide things in two parts, I could say one part is all about document templates. So it's about designing those templates using our designer and managing it. So how do you actually basically register those templates? How do you update them? How do you manage them? The second part is all about when you're generating the documents. In our case, documents are, of course, SSRS-based reports, such as purchase orders, packing slip, invoices, and so on. And then how you share or how you distribute those reports with your clients, customers, partners. This is where our focus is. This is where we actually live. This is where we bring benefit. Now, very quickly, one thing that I would say it's people call it a killer feature is definitely our Microsoft Word Designer. So it's an add-in that sits within the Word. We'll also see it later in the demo. And what we kind of try to solve is the painful, or let's say not so nice functionality that the standard solution has, and that is an SSRS designer. So you don't have to be a developer in our case. You just have to be a bit more knowledgeable about the Word and a little bit also about Docentric, of course. And you can do that using Word, not being a developer. Nothing wrong with the developers. They're very important, but we do believe that they have some other, let's say, more important work to do than designing reports in SSRS. And this is where we come in. Of course, as I said, no developers required in our case. It's more about either end users, more, let's say, powerful end users on the customer, on the partner side, functional consultants. They can actually do the job. And of course, one of the biggest thing is that if you're developing, you always need to, if you're developing in a standard version, you always need to first, you do the development, you need to deploy the solution, then you need to find the right report, and then you can only see what actually happened. We have things like instant preview, so you can immediately see things, how things will look like in real life. All about the managing. So if you're using our software, you can actually manage it by the FNO user, of course, the user that has the right permission, not everyone. Usually these are either power users or on the partner side consultants. Very flexible storage options. So you can actually store it in Azure, you can store it in blob storage, you can store it in a file system. It really depends basically what are your needs. If you have on-premise solution, it's a file system. If you have a cloud solution, can be internal Azure blob storage, can be a SharePoint, internal, external. It's really up to you to decide. So it gives you this flexibility, and you're not basically deploying the reports, you're registering reports, which means it's also much faster. I wouldn't say go to market, but much faster. So you can much faster start using the template that you created. Basically, you can use it instantly. And configuration, there is no coding needed. You just simply, as I said, register it. Now, that was on the designing templates. Now, when we generate the templates, so our software is basically a component of D365 FNO. So there are no additional services needed. There are no additional VMs or something. We are like a customization that sits within D365. That means also we are actually very quick with the performance. So our performance is actually better than the standard one. you can have dynamic file names. So in our case, that would be placeholders, that you can have different placeholders, and then in the runtime, they are replaced by a real-time data that you're doing. It could be have electronic signature. You can encrypt the documents with a PDF encryption. And even for PDF encryption, you can use a dynamic password that you can decide whatever it is based on the placeholder. So many other things. And of course, you do need some coding. So we are not code free. That's why we said we are low code. Basically, if you want to add a field, you do need to have let's say there is a purchase order, there is a field missing in the standard SSRS report. You want to add that field, you have to be a developer, but that is a one-time job. And we also have our own API. So we have our own, because we use our own DSP classes, extensions. So we can actually build that on top of that. So instead of doing that on the SSRS level with quite a lot of coding, in our case, that's 1 or 2 lines of code. And maybe just to kind of emphasize that, we have a lot of publicly available information. We have a lot of really good user manuals, and we also have an excellent support who also helps you with that. And first and foremost, you also have an excellent partner who can also support you there. And the last part is the distribution. So I don't want to spend too much time talking without to show you, but we did a lot of enhancement on the print destination part, on the emailing. You can have a dynamic email body, a dynamic email subject. You can name the documents. As you know, you can actually create a name of your document. Let's say a purchase order, you can define what the purchase order should look like, and you do that with the placeholders. Let's say it's a purchase order, and then you add the purchase ID, then you add what's the extension date, whatever it is. So there are many options that you can do that, and you do that once, you set it up once, and you have the chance. You can, of course, then also save your printed documents, purchase orders, and so on. You can save it on SharePoint. You can save it on Azure. You can save it on a file system also. You can save it to attachments, which actually a lot of customers do, because then it's much easier to review what was sent out. So options about that. And of course, we have also very searchable archive. We also kind of enhance that part, so you can see which document was sent out, how the document looks like, and so on. And if we go a very quick summary of our key benefits, what our customers are saying, that we are up to 10 times faster with designing reports. Reports can be designed by business and functional users. Much easier management of all the documents. It's a secure and scalable document generation. So as I said before, I just need to emphasize that one. We are deeply integrated into D365 F&O. There are no additional VMs, no additional servers, and of course, a lot of improvements done on the side of the print destinations. Not just that, of course, many other things on the email distribution. We did a lot of things on the warehouse labels, where, for the improved license plate labels. I know this is something that our customers like a lot. So you don't need to use a ZPL language anymore. You can use a Word designer to design a license plate labels. Wave labels are coming, custom labels also are coming. So there's a lot of things that are still on the way. Now, having said that, I'm looking if there's any questions here. I will ask Andre to help me if there's anything like that, more technical. Let's see. Okay, no, we see that Maria said she began.
No questions, yeah.
Okay, good.
No questions yet, yes.
I have a support here, great. This is, I think, slide that I have, and then we go to the live demo. Just a quick view how usually, I wouldn't say process, more like what's the standard flow that we see with our customers. So in any case, you need to design some sort of template. So with you can design a template using Microsoft Word. For that, you don't have to be a developer. It can be a non-developer person. Once you do that design, you store that in different capacity, either that be on Azure, that be on SharePoint, that be on internal blob storage, whatever you prefer. Now, when you're designing the template, you have two options. You can start from scratch. You have your own mockup, something that marketing would basically do. And then you just start putting the fields there. The second option is you can use our replicas, so-called SSRS replicas. Now, what we did is we replicated around 80 of SSRS most common reports, and we already designed them in a Word format. So when somebody is starting, they can actually already take that replica, very simple, and you just start, tweaking and fixing that replica a little bit. It's literally a replica of the SSRS. So you don't have to do that in the SSRS. You just simply take our replica. It's a Word format, and you just start to change that replica. Different fonts, you move some stuff, maybe you even add a field or two, but it's a very quick start. On the other side, you can start from scratch. So using just a mockup that your marketing team prepared. Once you have that, you store it, and once you're there, an FNO user, when they start the report, they don't basically notice any difference. Why so? Because we are just a component. So when you start the report, let's start with the purchase orders. This is also what we're going to use. The SSRS pipeline kind of kicks in, and somewhere in the middle, we actually take the data from the SSRS and we combine it with the templates that we did before, and we send it to our generator for the documents. Those data and those templates are then combined, and then they are sent to any desired, I would say, output destination or to the desired print destination. And that is kind of a very quick flow how we're doing it. Now, to kind of stop here, maybe just one additional thing, we can coexist with the standard solution, which actually means we don't, that since we are enhancing a standard solution, we are not killing any features. So if somebody already has some SSRS reports, they can reuse the SSRS reports templates that are already built. For some reports and for some other reports, they can just simply use our Word report. So we can coexist. There is no big bang needed, especially for the customers who already have FNO. They already have some standard reports. You can simply reuse those. You don't have to change it if you don't want to. Some reports are there, you don't have to maintain, and they are, as they are. They're more baked. Black box report, so you use those, and for those who you want to build from scratch, or you're not using at all, this you can use already our templates. Okay, do we have any questions? No comments? No, so far nothing. Okay, and if I'm correct, the next slide is basically a demo. Just give me a second. There we go. Okay, so what is the first part of the demo is how to use our designer. Now, what I'm going to share with you here is how to use it from the scratch. Andre he'll help me with the comments if I'm going to be too fast, because sometimes it happens that I'm maybe skipping some stuff, because I did this a few times already. So please, Andre, just let me know, or Maria, if I'm skipping or if I'm being too fast, or Master of Obvious. So as you can see, this is just a standard Word. What is this? This is a mockup that usually it's prepared by the marketing. Now, why is this good? Because it's good that the marketing first tells you, how things should look like before you start doing it. That you don't do it, and then market says, yeah, you know what? This stuff is missing, this stuff is missing. And that's a very standard process, by the way. You wouldn't be, yeah, Andre agrees here. You wouldn't be the first one. So it's good that marketing says, look, guys, this is how we want to have it. The accounting says, this stuff needs to be there. And then say, okay, great. So this is really a bad mockup, but I think it will do for the purpose. It's now, as you can see here, the only difference here with Word is that it has an additional ribbon, and this is this add-in that we created. This is the Centric IX. As you can see here, most of the fields are empty. Just the one is active, and this is where we can upload a template. Now, as any other templating tool, also ours needs a certain data source. In our case, the data source is an XML file with a very intuitive name, DDSP. It means the Centric Data Source Package. Now, this is an XML file that is created if you have generating options on when you are, let's say, printing purchase order, because purchase order is also one of the replicas that we have already created. Now, once we upload that, we see there are two additional windows popping up. One is the data source, and the other is the element tree. Data source will kind of help us to bring the data from this XML file to our template here. And element tree will actually tell us which are those connections we already did. Now, we are good with time. So as you can see now, we have all these great fields now active. Now, for us, what's really important are these so-called, we call it tagging elements. These are actually the fields that will help us to bring the data to our mockup. Now, let's just simply start. We'll start with simply replacing this purchase order ID. We just show it where do we want to have it. Now, if also there would be no figure, no figures here, also okay. So these are just for the mockup so that we know where we want to put it. We will use for that a field tagging element. And we see there is another pop-up opening here. And here we'll go and say, I know this is in a purchase order header. And I will just say, look, we have pretty intuitive names here. I will add the purch ID. Okay, now we see that something happened. We see that in the element tree. Now, if you're using SSRS, beyond being that you need to be a developer, which is a bit not such a nice interface, what you need to do now is if you want to see how this looks like, you will need to kind of deploy it. You need to run the report. So even if you're really super fast, I think it can be up to 5-10 minutes for every small change. Now, in our case, we have two previews. Now, one is this PDF preview, and it's gonna, there you go. So this PDF preview, this is a standard PDF, and this is actually a pixel perfect picture of how the report would looks like. Now, what do we see here is that instead of this purchase ID, there is a certain value. Now, this is a sample data that sits in this XML file. So this XML file has this data source schema, the structure, plus it has some sample data. Why sample data? So we can actually show it how things will look like in real life. So that's one way of seeing it. The other way, so what you can do here with this, you have, you do a couple of versions of different reports, you send it to your colleagues and say, dear colleagues, which one would you like to have? That way you keep your decision making to other people, so because they need to be happy with what they will use, right? The other way, and this is done most of the time when you're creating, is a live preview. So this one is constantly rendering all the changes. Now, since we are doing this on one screen, it's a bit tight, but when you're designing, you would probably have two screens. So you can actually move this live preview to the second screen. So it looks a bit bigger, right? And we see that here we have the same one. Now, nice thing here about this, we can actually check if this 0.0000046 is a real value. We go with this part and we can see the sample data. There we go. Now, since this is not just a viewer, it's not just a viewer, it's also an editor. We can manipulate the data a little bit, and we can actually see what would happen if there will be a different value, which is quite a high chance that, everybody has their own taxonomy for that. And let's make, usually PO is quite standard one. And we add a couple of zeros here, and let's see what happens. And there we go. And we immediately see that basically the design changed. So we also need to then adopt the design on the template itself. And with the full power of Word, you can actually just simply extend this. And there you go. And this is how you then design the templates. And the nice part is you can immediately see what happened. You don't need to deploy it. You don't need to look for the right type of a template, or a report that it's already there. So you immediately see what's happening. Maybe another thing, since we are in Europe, so we work globally a lot. So we work also a lot with US, and with US, this multilingual actually functionality never works because they just do English, But we are in a bit more diverse environment here in Europe, which is actually good. So if you have multilingual reports, it's also very convenient. So basically, you can just select here this. We're going to use the label tagging element for that, and we're going to create a multilingual report. And we know again, so we're looking for the source. We know that this is, again, a purchase order. And I would say it's this one. So we see that here nothing happened yet. That is because here the preview language is still English. So here, this is a preview language. So these languages are taken out of D365. It's not something we created. We're just kind of, we're using as a source. And when I created this DDSP, these are the preview languages I wanted to have. It's actually very simple to create them. You just flag them. So these are the one I flagged. And let's try with the French one now. Now we'll see that here there is a change. Now, why is also this good to test? You will know that if I will send out the invoice in English, it's okay. If I send it in French, it's not okay because, my design will kind of crash a little bit. And yeah, let's extend it a bit more. It's not the nicest one, but I just want to give you like an example how things should how things are very much easier to see. I would say this kind of gives us a quick overview of how easy it is basically to design. Maybe one other thing, because this is what our customers ask us a lot. They say, everything looks really good because everything is on a one page. But what happens when the pages start to kind of break? And this is where the real challenge usually arises. So let me just show you this. Let me just kind of delete these two because we don't need them, because these are mockups. And let's make this a little bit more visible with the table design. Yeah, let's do a bit of shading. Okay, so we're good. So what I will do now, I will actually bring all the purchase order lines that are in the sample data to this part. Also pretty straightforward. We're using a list tagging element, which is a repetitor. It repeats what's basically in the data source. Like this. Now for now, we're just going to bring all the purchase order lines. And we see there are two, which is not that much. So having said that, we simply go here. This is our XML file. Select this, and we're just going to add some with copy paste. So Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V. Yeah, let's do it like this. And there, and let's see what happened with our template. Actually, it still looks pretty good. So we have pages, everything as it should be. But the only thing what is missing is, yeah, this front row. So yeah, let's say the front row is missing. Now, since we are using Word, it's pretty simple. It's not the centric feature. If the word doesn't, should be properties. Yeah, just go here, you add row and set repeat as a header row at the top of each page. And the magic should happen. Yeah, it does. So I just want to show you that we are really trying to leverage whatever Word is offering us. Plus, of course, we're adding our own features. I would stop here. Now, if you remember, I was mentioning this, I think there was a slide where it was like, why, we are 10 times faster and so on. This is where the speed comes from. Now, first of all, we don't have to be a developer, so that's already a bit more speedy. The second thing is, of course, if you want to kind of add a simple thing, it's not drag and drop, but it's, very close to that. You immediately see the difference. So immediately see what is happening. When you're designing things, you are just using Word. And of course, this previous stuff, I think that's for any developer, as far as I know, because I saw how the SSRS designer looks like. That is like, where the real gold is. What's kind of, thank you. What's kind of the next stage? So we're not finished now. Let's say we are now eight times faster than the standard solution. Where this 2 times faster is, it's in the next stage when we're gonna just register this report, and we can then immediately start using it. Now, have in mind, of course, this is something that is done by a person who has permissions for that. So standard user doesn't do this. Standard user also doesn't manage templates. Very important, so that something doesn't go wrong, right? This is really up to you to have the right permissions. Now, on the partner side, this is usually a functional consultant who does that. On the customer side, it's once these reports are built, quite a few customers are maintaining those reports by themselves. So that's also important part. So probably we have a business or a super user who will then do this stuff. Okay, let's kind of close this. Let's save it. And yeah, okay, let me just kind of start from here. So the Centric has, we have our own workspace within D365 F&O. You can otherwise find us under organization and administration. And very quickly on the left side, we have this setup here, all the reports that I have currently registered. So these are all these replicas. There is more than 80 because some of them are also for the electronic reporting, so CBD documents, which I do not have currently on my PC. You have some additional parameters where you can do additional settings, and you also have here print management setting shortcuts. Why so? Because usually when you're doing the template, you're then also setting up the print destination, and so that you have everything in one space. This is also kind of feedback from our customers. An important maybe note is that our product is constantly developing, and how we are developing is also based on the real market feedback. And the real market feedback comes from our dear partners like FTS, and also from you, dear customers, potential customers or existing customers. So we are really gathering those requests. Plus, of course, we are also adding our own 2 cents, but we want to bring value that is real for the market. Yeah, let's go here. Now, this is a purchase. I already put this in, so we have a purchase order report. If we go in now, this is something that I think is quite familiar for all of you. We have a few reports already here. That's because I'm using purchase order as my template for the design. What I would show you is very quickly, if you remember before, I was mentioning there are 2 ways of doing design. One is to design it with from scratch, like we did now from mockup. The other thing is to take a replica. And this is a replica. So when you get Docentric, this is one thing that is installed, and this is this replica. Let me just quickly download it. There we go. And it's opening. Okay, we are I'm a bit slow, but I'll speed it up. I see that so this is the same tool, the same designer. And this is how the replica. So you see it's a bit more, there's a few more bindings happened here. So this is done. And this is something that you get immediately. So if this is a design that is good enough for you, that it has this, it's actually very simple also just to kind of tweak a little bit here. You change this, you change this, you would move some field somewhere, and you can immediately start using it. You just re-register with this stuff, and you can immediately start using it. So for somebody who is on a very short notice and whose this design is good, and we have quite a few customers, say 50-50, they are actually using our replicas. Okay, and here you basically can see where and what is done. Okay, very quickly, let's just register the report that we did, and let's do like a test run. We add a report here. Let's make it like this, FTS W. Here you can define if this template can be used for all the companies, or is just for specific legal entities. Or the same goes if this is something that can be only used in this language. So you already have some flexibility here. Let's save it. Let's put it here now. We did register a template, but we still need a template to upload. So, and if I'm correct, it should be this one. Okay, let's attach a file. So for those of you who knows how it's done otherwise, so here are these options. You can put it to blob. So AOT is really more for development. So our replica is deployed on the AOT. Otherwise, blob storage, SharePoint, file system if you're also on premise. I'll do blob storage because I haven't set it up. We upload the file. And this one is the last one. So this is the file that I opened before when I was preparing for the webinar. You can have electronic signature set up here and so on. We save it, we do it like this, and all we need to do is we need to make it, is this the right one? Yep, we just need to make it a default so we can print it. There we go. I have here, okay, let's just print this one just to see how it goes. Now we started the SSRS report. As you can see now, I'm basically end user. And it's very simple to do. And this is the report we did before. We extended here the purge ID. As you remember, we had to extend this cell quite a lot because it was in French, and I added some data. And I also put a green here. Why I put it so you can actually see that this is the template we did. I will stop here with the designer because let's we kind of wrap it up. And if there are any questions, maybe comments, Andre, if you know your customers best, if you would like to add something here before we move to the print destinations, and we spent a couple of minutes there because it took me a bit longer than I expected. Sorry.
No, there is no question in the Q&A section, so I think we are good to go further.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Let's go then here back, and I just go to the back here. So I just want to show you if you're here. Now what we're going to do next is we're just gonna quickly show you what some of the enhancements we did on the print destination. We are a bit short on time. My apologies for that. It just took me a bit longer. So basically what we do, as you know, the standard solution has these 5 print destinations. The centric, if you go here, show the centric destinations. We have the same 5 print destinations, so we enhance the existing print destinations. There will be also some changes now with the e-invoicing, which we're also kind of working on, and it should be out like in a month already with some instructions how to do that. We added just generate DS, so this is where this data source, this DDSP field used to be generated at first, but now we also do it differently. All the same 5 print destinations, all those 5 print destinations have 2 things, and these are these fast tabs. Options and select template. So here you can actually select the template that you want to use for this specific either already company or for a specific report. And these are these different templates that I have already created before. So you can here design, I want to have just basically SSRS one. I want to have a default one. Default one is the one I selected before, and I want to have just specific report. I can also decide that one. Now, maybe I'll spend more time a little bit on the email. So if you look at the standard email, it has a couple of things. It has 2 fields with tokens. It has CC, it has subject with the hard-coded text, so you can actually put in the text that is always going to be the same. And this is something new, actually. I think this is a feature that came about 6 months ago. And they also have some body, which basically means that you can put in some fixed text. Now, if you look at the centric part, you can select, first of all, you can already select an email template here. Now, this goes for the multilingual reports, for the multilingual customers. You can have for Italian customer, Italian email body, for French, and so on. Otherwise, you will just have a standard email body. And I think this is where the major difference comes. So when you have a subject here, you can already have a dynamic name here. You say, okay, your purchase order, this is fixed, it goes because it's your purchase order, but then you can add so-called placeholders. And placeholders then in the runtime, they are replaced by real-time data. So in our case, you can have a specific placeholders which are report specific, like purchase ID and so on, or you can have a standard placeholders, which says all the other placeholders available, or you can also do your own custom placeholders. And a placeholder can actually be any field that you have in, let's say, in the SSRS. Now, how do you add those reports, placeholders, sorry. Let's say report specific. You just simply click it like here, you go here, you select it and you copy paste it in the string. That's one thing. Attachment, again, you can define the attachment name the same dynamically. So these placeholders, generally, you can find them all over our enhancements, not just here. You can use them as a password protection. You can use them for many, many things, also in the email inserting. CC/BCC, we added a couple of email tokens here on all options. We added BCC. People always ask me, why BCC? I ask my developers, and their answer was typical development one, because we can. But we do have customers who actually uses this. And we also added this field from. So this is a field where, so in the runtime, in a standard version, when you're sending out, the email would be sent out from my, let's say, from Gregor.Dedic. In this case, you can set it up. It's an SMTP setup. If you have a sales at mycompany.com, it will go out from sales. It looks a bit more professional that the invoices go out from sales, not from Gregor. The same goes, let's say, for the purchasing department and so on. The email part, so this is an HTML editor that is basically across all the enhancements we did. So even when you're sending out, let's say, collection letter, you can set up different emails. This is the HTML editor that we use. For other emails and alerts that are going out, this is the same HTML editor that we're using. Pretty rich one. You can add, of course, all the standard, images. You can add tables. You can add hyperlinks, and you can also add, as you can see, you can add placeholders. And you can do that very simple. These are the placeholders. Some of them are report specific. Some of them are just general one. So you want to add a document number. Very simple. It's like this. I already have a few of those here. This one was for the password for purchase ID. So I actually protected the password, the purchase order. I locked it. So when the customer got it, it could only open it with the purchase ID that was there. And I think, yeah, you can also just use HTML code and put it in. Last but not least is the additional attachments. These are attachments that are attached additionally to the report that you're printing. They can come from different sources. We can have it you can add terms and conditions, you can add customer descriptions, you can add contracts, basically all these sources. If you have an attachment, if you attach it there, you can just set it up here and it goes out automatically with your with the email that you're printing. Okay, now what I would do, just for the sake of it, let me just kind of print one email just to kind of show you how this looks like. Let's just use this one. Yeah, we are about 1 minute, and hopefully the event won't end because then we missed a couple of things, but still. Yeah, this one. Okay. There we go. So this is how the email looks like. So we also have a flag to open email before sending it out. Usually this flag is used when you're setting up the settings. When you're setting up this print destination, it's good to have to see what is actually, how the email would actually look like. If it's good, if it's not good. Some of our customers use it when they're sending out things like purchase order, they want to see it before. Oopsie, there we go. Okay, so from where? This is from the purchase this is what I use. This is a placeholder. Your purchase order is a fixed text, and this is what we put in. I put in a purchase ID and something else. And the same goes for the document itself. See, purchase order is a fixed name that I put, and this is a purchase ID, and this is the date. And the same goes here. These are basically the placeholders. So just imagine you can set up your email once in terms of a text, and then you just add in a dynamic data, which in our case means placeholders. I would stop here and let me just kind of show you another thing, and then purchase order, there you go. Do we have anything? Yeah, and another, maybe just one thing that our customers use also a lot is a file print destination. If you look at the standard one, it has these two things, not that much. In our case, what you can do, you can actually, beside these fast tabs, you can actually save your printed document that you're printing in a different capacity. Now, first of all, you can define, you can put a dynamic name, so placeholders again. You can define the output. You can download the file if you want to, just to see what you're actually storing. Again, this is good when you're kind of setting this up. And then you have a lot of different options. So you can save it to Azure Blob Storage. You can use internal, external account, of course. You can put it to Azure Files. And I think one thing that's used the most is actually SharePoint. Here you can actually also define your own metadata. And once you have it in a SharePoint, there's a lot of things it can do. People use it for signing, for sending documents out, for sending it back. So with the Power Automate, so many things that can be done. It's also, of course, much easier. It's also much easier accessible. Save to attachments, yes, also used a lot because it's very easy to view it. And for the on-premise solutions, yeah, also save to file system. Now, I know it's a lot. It took me already a bit longer. I would stop here. And I just have maybe 1 or 2 slides about what to expect in the very near future from us. Unless we have any questions. Andre, do we have any questions?
Yes, we have 2 questions, but I would suggest to respond them via email later, because the roadmap, I think it's more important.
Okay, thank you.
One question is actually quite interesting about dual language labels, English and local language at the same time in one field, but
yeah, this is something that I will have to come. Oh, thank you so much for the person who asked. It's a very interesting question. Because it takes a bit more time to reply, we'll put a bit more comprehensive reply, so it's going to be for everyone available. Thank you so much. Okay, the next part are basically just what's next. A very, very near future, so should be this month, the warehouse labels are coming out. So these are the wave labels, additional one, the POC is done, and also we also getting out the custom labels. So this is not something here. the support for Zugfahrt, so for the e-invoicing. So Zugfahrt is a standard that is used in Germany and also France. So we're also kind of adding this one. In generally, we'll have a sort of e-invoicing strategy, which is kind of developed together with that. So we didn't forget about that. The next generation designer is coming out. So this is the Word part. So it's going to have actually the whole new system is coming out. On top of the Word, we will also have an Excel designer. So you will be able to design reports also in Excel with the same designer, the same everything. This is going to be out till the end of the year. We have design ready. I didn't want to show it today because it's still, you know, it's not as smooth and fly as it should be, but it's in the final stage of testing. And I would say one thing that I would kind of expose is that with the beginning of next year, the new solution is coming out for the CE, for the Dynamics 365 CE. And it's again, it's the same designer as you saw today, just it's going to be focused on the CE. So it's actually it's based on the Power Platform, Power Docs, but we are first focusing on a CE. The timeline here, the way I know us, let's say beginning of next year is the realistic timeline. If somebody wants to see the demo, please, you know, reach out to Maria and Andrzej. We can actually also provide you with the demo. This we can do. I'm gonna start internally using it in production in sales last week. Basically, that means that we're in a delay, should be next week. So, but please, you know, reach out to Maria, reach out to Andrzej. They will be able to kind of connect you with me, and we can actually go. That's it. What I would just say for the end, thank you so much for joining on such a short notice. Thank you, FTS, for organizing this. Thank you, Mina. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Andrzej. And now, this was a really very quick overview. I'm sorry it took a bit longer. I also probably noticed I started to talk a bit faster when it was 40 minutes. If you want to have a one-on-one demo, non-obligatory, of course, please reach out to Maria or Andrzej. We are more than happy to do that, just to kind of walk you through. You saw quite a few things, but let's say the demo is a bit more detailed, you know, and you can ask more questions. I would kind of stop here. Already took too much time and too much talking. Maria, anything to add? Andrzej?
No, we had, Andrzej, you mentioned that we had several questions here, but it's better to have a personal meeting with the persons that posted them in order to be more precise in answering the questions because they're, let's say, specific for the business. And yeah, thank you for coming to our webinar, everyone. We'll get to see you without hearing you.
Yeah, thank you again. If you have any questions, we are more than happy really to reply on it. We'll do it over email. I think it's also going to be recording sent. There are some additional resources. And again, thank you so much for everyone for attending, and thank you, FTS, for inviting me to this webinar.
And to you for the interesting demonstration.
Good, that's great to hear. I hope it was 50 minutes well spent for everyone. I know it's time is very valuable. And all I can say is I wish everyone a super nice rest of the day, weekend when it comes, and, you know, a nice summer vacation when they are. I think they should be quite close. Thank you so much.
Have a nice afternoon, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.